Hey folks, this is Dana of StimulatedBoredom.com, and I'm doing part 2 of my basic PC maintenance video series. For those of you who haven't had an opportunity to check out part 1, basically went into removing excess clutter, speeding up your computer through basic things like defragmentation, disk cleanup, removing a lot of unnecessary startup programs that can slow down your computer over time. So if you want to check that out, you can. That's part 1. Now part 2 is specifically related to updating your video and graphics card drivers, and more specifically, Nvidia graphics card drivers. I'll do a video in the future for ATI. But it's very important to keep your graphics card drivers up to date, especially if you do anything like PC gaming, which I do a lot of, but also if you're watching videos, playing movies, if you do anything that requires any kind of 3D acceleration, etc., it's always a good idea to keep that hardware up to date, and that's basically what your graphics card is. Now, most people have a computer with integrated graphics, which basically means that there's a graphics processing unit, or as we refer to a GPU, that's built into the system, but you can also upgrade your graphics processing power by buying an aftermarket graphics card, which is something that I would normally do because I do a lot of PC gaming. So for instance, if I'm playing StarCraft 2, which is exactly what I'm playing right now, I want to make sure that I have a powerful graphics card with plenty of virtual memory in order to be able to accommodate the graphics that come with that type of game. But even if you have integrated graphics, it's still a good idea to keep those drivers up to date, because basically think of it in terms of like a cell phone. If your cell phone manufacturer realizes that you're getting some glitches with certain things with your phone, they'll release a firmware update in order to fix those problems. Same thing with people who do PC gaming or any kind of video editing, etc., that your manufacturer may realize after they've released the card that there might be a problem with a particular program or a particular video game, so they'll release a driver update in order to address those problems. So the first thing that you want to do is basically determine what graphics card you have. Now, the way that you're going to do that is if you go to My Computer, which most people have saved on their desktop. If you right-click on My Computer, scroll down to Properties, and when that dialog box pops up, you're going to see some tags along the top. Now, you want to click on where it says Hardware, and when you click on Hardware, you want to click where it says Device Manager. Now, if you click on Device Manager, it'll pull up this menu here, and the way that you can determine what graphics card you have as well as what driver edition you have is right here where it says Display Adapters. If you click on the plus sign, it'll actually reveal exactly what graphics card you have. Now, some people might have an Nvidia GeForce 6600 or 7400 and 8600, etc. Usually, if it's an integrated graphics card, then it's going to be an older version. You can upgrade that by going to Best Buy or jumping online and buying a graphics card that you can slide into a PCI Express slot, which just about every computer has, which allows you to basically up the power of your graphics card. But my graphics card is an Nvidia GeForce 9800 GT. And then from this point, what we're going to do is determine exactly which driver version I currently have. So if you double click on your graphics card, also knowing the graphics card that you have helps if you do play PC games or anything along those lines, is that on the box of the game it'll actually list specifications of the type of operating systems and graphics cards that can actually play that game. So if you know what your graphics card is, then you can look on the box and see whether or not it's compatible with the game that you're interested in playing. So anyway, once we pull up this box here, I'm going to pull up where it says Driver, and from here is where it's going to determine exactly what driver version you have. Now, it's going to be a little bit confusing for some folks because you don't know all the driver versions. You can basically ignore this first section. The part that really matters is the last 5 digits right here, which you'll see in just a moment. Now, this is the current driver version that I have for my particular graphics card. Now, what we want to do to upgrade this, and again, this is specific to Nvidia graphics cards, is you're going to go to the Nvidia website, and it's actually really, really handy. Now, for some reason, this only seems to work in Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer, and I'll explain this in a minute because it's a handy-dandy little thing that Nvidia did. But if you go to Nvidia.com, which is their website, click on Download Drivers, and what it'll do is you give an option to choose the different graphics card that you have, or you can do this, which is basically an automatic graphics card updater. So if you click on that, what it'll do is actually scan my system to determine exactly what graphics card I have. And when it determines what graphics card I have, it knows what driver version I have, and it will tell me whether or not there's an update that's available. Now, mine came up, and this is where it comes up where I mentioned the last 5 digits, 258.96. Now, what it's saying here is that this is the product that I currently have installed in my system, the Nvidia GeForce 9800 GT. This is the current installed driver that I have, and then it'll tell you whether or not you need an upgrade. Now, mine says your PC is currently running the latest driver installed on my computer, so there's no update that's necessary at this time. However, if your driver is out of date, it'll tell you this is a newer version. And for a lot of folks, they'll realize that multiple versions have come out since they bought their computer because they didn't realize that they can update their drivers themselves. So kind of going back into the Nvidia site, if we go back to download drivers, like for some reason, as I was mentioning, this little handy dandy thing doesn't work in Chrome. I don't know why. So if you are using Chrome and you don't have Firefox or Internet Explorer, you can actually pull up your specific graphics card here. So if I did GeForce, then from that point I would scroll down to the 9 series, which would be here. And then from here I would have, I would try to find my specific one, which is the 9800 GT. What my operating system is from that point, and then hit search. And then from there, it'll actually tell me what the most recent driver version is, and it allows me to download it. Now, what ends up happening is when you hit download, it'll save to whatever destination file you want to send it to. I normally send it to the desktop, so it's easier to find. From there, you would actually double-click on the exe file, which is an executable file, which allows you to run the latest update. And in Nvidia, what they do is they basically run an install manager that overwrites your previous version and updates it to the newer version. It'll ask you to reboot your computer, and then when you're done, you'll see that you have the newest driver update. Another thing that you can do in order to determine what driver you have is if you go to the start menu down here and click where it says run, click on run, and you want to type in where it says DX DIAG. I always DX Diag, but basically it means DirectX Diagnostics. I have already typed this in because I was doing this earlier. So if you type that in into the run menu, hit OK, it'll actually pull up a lot of the specifications as it relates to your particular computer. So for me, I'm going to click where it says display, and it'll give me all the information as it relates to my graphics card, Nvidia GeForce 9800 GT. It'll tell me how much virtual memory I have, which is over 1 gig of VRAM. It also goes into exactly what version I'm currently running, which is right here, which we were talking about earlier. And that's a way for you to determine exactly what driver version you have and whether or not you need a brand new update. So anyway, hopefully this is helpful for you guys. If you have any questions, you can contact me at dana@stimulatedboredom.com. But again, this is specific to Nvidia graphics cards. If you have Firefox or Internet Explorer or Safari, you can go to nvidia.com, click on download drivers, and there's actually a beta program that will search your system, determine exactly what graphics card you have, exactly what driver version you're running, and will tell you whether or not you need a brand new update. If you're running in Chrome for some reason that hasn't been updated yet, so hopefully Nvidia will get on that sometime soon. But if you need to, you can also manually enter your graphics card. And like I said, you can very easily check exactly what graphics card that is by scrolling down my computer, properties, hardware, device manager, and then from that clicking on where it says display adapters, and it'll tell you exactly what graphics card you have, just to reiterate. Or you can do what we did a moment ago, which is the DX Diag, which is DirectX Diagnostics. Click on that and then choose where it says display, and it'll give you all that information as well and let you know if you're running an older version or the newest version. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Check out stimulatedboredom.com for more information on the program, and hopefully this will help to get your graphics card up to speed. Thanks for tuning in.